Hello, my friend. It's the Range Ronin, and I am honored to have you with me for another chapter in the Range Ronin Chronicles. Hey there, it's the Range Ronin knocking on your door once again. Mind if I come in? Thank you, I appreciate that. Very nice place you have here. Hey, I see that you have my channel up on your computer display. Talk about good timing. Let's have a seat and let me yak at you a bit. The reason that I am here is that I have another story to tell you. This time, it is about the Springfield Armory Hellcat. Did you know that before you can become a pro, you will be a semi-pro? But I don't know of a firearms manufacturer that would name any of their products as semi-pro. Nope, pro is the way to go. It's a catchy marketing term that ranks right up there with match grade. Now, before there was the Hellcat Pro, there was simply the Hellcat. The Springfield Armory Hellcat won the 2020 Reader's Choice for Best Compact Semi-Auto Handgun. Among the nominees were the Beretta APX Carry, Canik TP9 Elite SC, FN 503, Mossberg MC2C, the Sky CPX-2RD, Sig Sauer P365XL, Smith & Wesson M&P 9 2.0 Compact OR, and the Taurus G3C. Also in 2020, the Springfield Armory Hellcat 9mm was named as the Guns and Ammo Handgun of the Year. The Micro Compact Plus P rated Hellcat features a capacity of 11+1 with its patented magazine, 13+1 with the included extended magazine. The Hellcat has proven to be an extremely popular EDC choice for self-defense. A 3-inch hammer forged barrel and a low weight of just 17.9 ounces empty, the Hellcat can slip into a pants pocket but be readily available for use when needed. 3 years after the Hellcat was introduced, I finally acquired one to review. After my recent review of the Hellcat Pro, I needed to experience for myself the pistol that started the Hellcat line of pistols, the Hellcat. So, stick with me as I fill you in on the Springfield Armory Hellcat, what some call the perfect pocket pistol. My particular Hellcat is not listed among the series of Hellcat pistols, at least according to the Hotel Charlie 9319 Bravo Foxtrot Oscar part number, and that is because this model has been discontinued by Springfield Armory, which is not surprising to me, as I have several Springfield Armory pistols that have been discontinued to make way for updated models. Not that there is anything wrong with this pistol, it has simply been updated with models that have tritium front sights and that are OSP ready. Other than that, specifications for this pistol are identical to the later models. Basic specifications of the now discontinued Hellcat 3-inch micro compact handgun with fiber optic sight include that it is black. It has, like the other Hellcats, a 3-inch hammer forged melanite finished barrel with a 1 in 10 twist. It exhibits a billet machine slide with the melanite finish. The frame is, as expected, black polymer with the adaptive grip texture. A red fiber front sight with a tactical rack U-notch rear sight adorn the top of the slide. A now seemingly standard dual captive recoil spring with full-length guide rod keeps things running smoothly. The grip width is 1 inch and which houses an 11-round flush fit or 13-round extended magazine. The weight of the pistol is 18.3 ounces with the flush magazine or 18.6 ounces with the extended 13-round magazine. The total length of this Hellcat is 6 inches with a height of 4 inches with the flush-mounted magazine or 4.5 inches with the extended magazine. What this version of the Hellcat does not have is the RDP, Rapid Defense Package Configuration, which is the micro red dot and self-indexing compensator, nor is it optics ready, as with the OSP, Optical Sight Pistol, nor does it have an optional ambidextrous manual safety. This is a bare-bones Hellcat that most, as I would, slide into a pocket pants holster and carry in the pants pocket as a backup or a quick run to the convenience store pistol. It might, for some, find its way into an ankle holster that would make it easy to get to when driving, or a fanny pack when jogging. Regardless, let me take you through the features of this basic Hellcat. Then, you can ponder the possibilities of packing it. I'll start with the slide assembly that is beveled at the front for easy insertion into a holster or other carry device without snagging. The textured full-length guide rod extends a bit beyond the slide. This feature is carried over to the other Hellcat pistols to include the Hellcat Pro. The purpose of this feature is to allow the pistol to fire even if the slide is pressed against a hard surface. As I stated in my Hellcat Pro review, the pistol is easily forced out of battery when pressed against most body parts, as with any pistol. While having this feature is a nice gesture, it is relatively ineffective in real-world situations. The fiber front sight is dovetailed into the slide, which allows for drift adjustment for windage. Being dovetailed, the front sight can be replaced with a sight of your liking. Additional light pipes are not provided, nor are they available through Springfield Armory. Slide serrations grace the front of the slide that can be used to pull the slide to the rear for press checking, or when holding the slide when slowly releasing into battery. Press checking is really not necessary, as just to the rear of the Springfield Armory logo on the top of the slide is the chamber end of the barrel, which has a witness hole where the base of a cartridge, if chambered, can be seen. Just to the rear of the ejection port is an external extractor that does its job very well in extracting spent shells from the pistol. Slide serrations are evident at the rear of the slide. For my taste, the slide serrations are not cut deep enough for a full purchase when pulling or pushing the slide to the rear. The Hellcat has one hell of a recoil spring that anyone with weak hand strength would deem an impediment when attempting to move the slide. Just to the rear of the not cut so deep serrations is a white outlined U-notch rear sight that is dovetailed into the slide and drift adjustable for windage. No adjustment for elevation is provided. The front of the rear sight can be used as a cocking point, if needed, since it is squared off and not ramped. Surprisingly, the red fiber front sight nestles nicely into the notch of the rear sight and provides a contrast between the two. Well, That covers the externals of the slide. I'll talk more about the internals in the maintenance segment. Let me get into the frame. The frame is, of course, glass reinforced polymer that houses all of the necessary fire control components and magazines. The front of the frame has a one-point mounting rail for a very small Veridian E-Series laser or Surefire XSC weapon light. Just above the trigger guard is a small textured area for resting the trigger finger or forefinger of the support hand, should you decide to do so. The trigger guard is a nicely rounded affair with no front serrations, but is undercut at the rear. Within the trigger guard would be a nice place to put a trigger, and Springfield Armory did just that. The trigger has the now conventional trigger safety lever within the trigger housing that prevents the trigger from moving into the frame if not properly and fully pressed with the trigger. The trigger safety lever, when new, is slightly rough feeling as it moves into the trigger face. This is nothing that use won't correct. Once flush with the curved and serrated trigger face, it continues to the rear when pulled, which is a short distance to a wall, while feeling gritty in the process of pulling to this point. Springfield Armory XD pistols have never been known for excellent triggers, and this Hellcat fits that mold. Once the wall is reached, an additional 4 pounds and 3.3 ounces with a 5-pull average is needed to release the striker, but the travel to that point is slightly mushy feeling. When the striker is released, there is no over travel felt in the trigger. Trigger reset is fairly long, about half the distance of the total trigger travel. Now, I get to the fun part, the gripping area of the pistol. For a micro-compact pistol, the grip area of the Hellcat can accommodate even medium-sized hands like mine. The grip area is nicely textured with what Springfield Armory calls an adaptive grip texture. That grips tighter the harder you squeeze it. Contrary to some other claims about their grip texture, this one is actually true. As you run your hand across the texture without gripping it, the texture feels, well, under-textured. When you press your hand into the texture, however, that impression disappears, and the texture seems to melt into the flesh. Although the grip is a small 1 inch in width, the positive grip surface seems to provide a bit of confidence that the grip is just not going to shift in the hand under recoil. The primary gripping area, front and rear, not only contains this texturing, but also includes a front strap single finger groove that I like. The finger groove provides me with a sort of index when pulling the pistol from a pocket holster. Just above the main gripping area is an indented, textured surface that serves as a guide for the shooting finger or thumb resting area just above the magazine catch and release button. The grip length is short, and the pinky finger will definitely not have a place to rest until you slide in the 11-round magazine with pinky rest or the extended 13-round magazine that gives the pinky finger a place to reside. The top of the gripping area incorporates a mild but extended beaver tail to help keep the shooting hand away from the slide. While mild, the beaver tail fills in the fleshy web area of the hand that I have and helps to eliminate slide bite. The rear of the grip has a nice arch to it to help fill the palm of the shooting hand, while providing almost no area to place the palm of the support hand, which means that you will be squeezing the fingers of your shooting hand when firing the pistol, if you use a two-handed grip. The bottom rear of the grip has an overhang that helps the grip blend into the magazine, whether it be the 11-round or 13-round magazine. And speaking of magazines, as mentioned in the specifications, the Hellcat comes with an 11-round magazine with a pinky rest and an extended 13-round magazine. Both magazines contain a textured base plate that matches the pattern used on the frame. This is a nice aesthetic and functional feature, as pulling a magazine from the grip, not that you will ever have to do that, is easy due to the textured base plate of both magazines. Both magazines can be easily disassembled for maintenance. The magazines need a way to stay in the grip as well as being released from the grip. That way is provided by the, by default, left side magazine catch and release button. Elongated by design, the button is serrated at the front, which provides a good surface to push in with the thumb of either hand. Magazines lock up nicely and release with a push on the magazine catch and release button just as nicely. The polished stainless steel magazines are of the usual Springfield Armory quality and have never failed me in any of my Springfield Armory XD series of pistols. By using a pick or a small screwdriver blade, the magazine catch and release button can be oriented on the right side of the frame for left-handed users. Moving upward from the magazine catch and release button is the slide lock, which is left side only. The slide lock lever is small and serrated, but is squared off at the top to help the thumb find a place to push it down, release the slide, and chamber a cartridge, if you use it for such. There is just enough surface area on the slide lock lever to allow for pushing the lever up when pushing or pulling the slide to the rear. That, as I mentioned, takes some hand strength to perform. Just forward of the slide lock and above the trigger guard is the takedown lever. The takedown lever is more dominant than the slide lock lever, and like the slide lock lever, is left side only. I'll get into how to use the takedown lever in the maintenance segment. Just forward of the takedown lever, and which is also present on the right side of the frame, is an indented textured area for resting the trigger forefinger of the support hand, should you decide to rest the finger on the frame. Well, that seems to take care of the features of the Springfield Armory Hellcat. So let's move on to performing maintenance on this pistol. Since I have already published a maintenance segment for the Hellcat Pro, why not use it for the Hellcat, since every maintenance operation is the same for both pistols. However, I will insert some looks at the internals of the Hellcat that I did not include in the Hellcat Pro review. So, while you will see video of the Hellcat Pro, just substitute the pistol in your own mind with the Hellcat, which is just a variation of the Hellcat Pro. Since the Hellcat is field stripped, this would be an opportune time to look at the internals of the pistol to include the slide and frame assemblies. The inside of the slide is impeccably machined, with nary the presence of tool markings. The only markings present in my example is where the chamber of the barrel locks and unlocks from the slide. A 3-inch hammer-forged melanite finished barrel with a 1 in 10 twist is also impeccably machined and exhibits a highly polished feed ramp to ensure that cartridges to be fired install into the chamber as smoothly as possible. The barrel, as is normal these days with these pistols, is of the John Moses Browning tilt barrel locking design, with the forward edge of the chamber locking up with the slide in a very positive fashion. The dual recoil spring and guide rod is a captivated unit. Gone is the worry about springs and things flying to who knows where when disassembling the pistol. Internal to the frame are the firing control group, locking block, takedown assembly, and magazine catch and release mechanism. The locking block is pinned at the top of the frame, but also with the trigger pin. With the internals looked at, let's assemble the Hellcat. Having run the Hellcat Pro with its 3.7-inch barrel, I somewhat knew what to expect when shooting the basic Hellcat with its 3-inch barrel. I was wrong. The 3.7-inch barrel of the Hellcat Pro does make a difference. Shorter sight distance, coupled with a propensity of mine to pull the trigger left when shooting small frame pistols like micro compact Hellcat, proved once again, to me at least, that I favor longer barrels and bigger pistols. But I was going to try to do my best with the Hellcat. Today's ammunition of choice was to be, once again, Remington 124 grain FMJ, Magtech 115 grain FMJ, and a few 6-hour 147 grain jacketed hollow points for testing self-defense ammunition. With its 3-inch barrel, the Hellcat is a snappy little bugger, but not unlike other micro-compact 9mm pistols that I have reviewed. Felt recoil is quite evident with this little pistol, but was expected. This frisky little critter could use some weight, but with a pistol this small, manufacturers can only do so much to the weight versus power factor. The trigger reset, like the Hellcat Pro, snaps back into the trigger finger, and that digit was a little sore by the end of the range session. During a defensive encounter, I would not even notice it, but here at the range, I noticed it. My somewhat long trigger finger was forced into a trigger pull position that I find works against me rather than for me. Trying to pull the trigger straight back on these micro compacts just wears my trigger finger out. But as pocket pistols go, the Hellcat would make a fine 9mm pistol for up close and personal work. So, let's see if I can get through this range session without losing too much of my pride. Being the diminutive-sized pistol that it is, Springfield Armory Hellcat is just very easy to conceal. Slide it into a DeSantis Nemesis holster, and then slide it into a pants pocket. The Hellcat just simply disappears. While being the smaller brother of the Hellcat Pro, the Hellcat is the shortest in length and height of the Springfield Armory line of Hellcats. As mentioned in the introduction to this review, there are many competitors to the Springfield Armory Hellcat, but the Hellcat just may fit your fancy. For those with weak hand strength, Springfield Armory Hellcat may be troublesome when racking the slide, as it does take some hand strength to do so. With many pistols seeming to emulate the Glock pistol, the Hellcat does not stray from the mold in several respects. The safety features mimicking the Glock, a trigger pull that is common to Springfield Armory polymer pistols, handling being not unlike other micro-compact pistols, the Hellcat is just another grain of sand in a pile of sand. With that said, Springfield Armory Hellcat will satisfy the needs for some for a quality, reliable, and petite handgun to be used for self-defense. With that said, it's time to close this chapter of another Range Ronin Chronicle. I fervently hope that you will return for other gun and gear reviews, and that you find them informative and enjoy them as much as I enjoy producing them for you. Until we get together again, stay safe out there.